15-minute chart. Don't ask me why I was on the 15-minute chart. I know I'm acting like a degenerate. Anyway, let's just pretend I did this by accident. And so we've got the 15-minute chart here. And if we take a look at this pennant, it looks absolutely beautiful once again. We can kind of draw it a little bit differently to kind of prove my point a bit better, to show that we really are potentially at an apex for this particular pennant. And it looks absolutely great from a trader's perspective. Now, if we zoom out a little bit further and go onto the 1 hour chart, we do definitely have a very nice setup here on this chart. And obviously what this is where the price is starting to coil up a little bit, and we've already had now 3 examples which I've called for in the past. This example I told you I even traded this one actually. Traded this one, booked 180% profit, really casually, very easy stuff there. And then traded this one to the upside again. Again, both times just noticing a pennant, got 120% profit there. This was even shared in the free gold channel. The way to join that is by hitting up the first link in the description down below. This was even shared there. Quick, easy, 120% profit. Both of these coming from, oh god, from basically identifying that there is a bullish pennant. And my point is that Bitcoin right now is repeating a lot of the same characteristics that it loves to repeat. And as you guys know from my videos that you've been watching for many weeks now, because you're a loyal subscriber, Bitcoin loves pennants. And so for that very reason, now this pennant is nearly at its apex. No, in fact, this pennant is at its apex, and so it's actually invalid now because it hasn't broken out yet, although pretty much the same thing happened last time and maybe even the time before that. But the deal is, what's really, really important about this is that I'm willing to give it a little bit more leeway. And so if it doesn't look absolutely perfect, I'm still willing to think that this pennant could be a bullish pennant because we are in a bullish trend and the price has paused a little bit. And of course, as we know, if we zoom out a little bit further, every time the price pauses, every time the trend pauses and it doesn't continue moving upwards, it's just pausing exactly that before it continues upwards. Why would this chance, look at me already calling it an opportunity, why would this situation be any different? Well, there are a couple of reasons, but the overall point is that we are in a bullish trend. We have the same characteristic repeating itself. And so even though it might kind of start to look a little bit wrong and incorrect now, I'm still willing to give it that benefit of the doubt simply because it is such a well-respected formation within Bitcoin's chart behavior. So that is a nice little thing to be pointing out there. And you know what I ended up posting yesterday, which I was actually wrong about, is that I thought we started to have a bit of a distribution. I posted this in gold and of course VIP. Pardon me, because VIP gets everything full stop and then everything first as well. But I started to get this feeling that perhaps we were in some sort of distribution. Now, that said, I wasn't in any position, and I actually had a momentum long, which I ended up closing out. But, you know, I started to feel like potentially we were in a bit of a distribution pattern, and I started to get a bit of a bad feeling about it, simply because we were trading here for so long. But in this case, it looks like it perhaps wasn't distribution because we have now set a new high. And if we take a look at the daily chart, it's just been straight upward candles for a very long time. I mean, with only this one exception, you know, I mean, it's just been a straight climb for now 13 days in a row. You know, we can say it's 12 days, you know, with just one exception there. I mean, 12 out of 14 days of straight upward movement is pretty bullish. You know, it's gonna have to retrace eventually, of course, but when it does that, if it does that, of course, we don't really know. But the overall point is, yeah, with the candle opens and closes, we have been just setting higher numbers every single day, which is good to see. I mean, it's a nice little sign there, telling us that we are still bullish and really showing that strength is there. And you know, tying in with the strength real quick, we've had exactly the same dip. You know, one of my recent videos, I told you that we had a dump right when I hit record, and I was actually talking to Crypto Kirby. He had this dump while he was recording, which was unfortunate, and it happens to YouTubers all the time. By the way, we'd be recording, and then there is a completely market-changing movement that happens while we're recording, so we have to scrap that recording and go again, and it's really annoying. But anyway, just the frustrations of a YouTuber, I guess, one of many. And anyway, we had the dip, and we had a pretty nasty dip. But what I told you guys is that the fact that it was brought back up is very bullish because it tells us we've tested the downside and now we're ready to go higher. And what I said, I even posted this in Telegram again, so guys, if you're not already in there, you are missing out on so much amazing analysis, which you really don't want to be missing out on. You just get a notification straight to your phone whenever I post a bit of TA like this. It's absolutely amazing. It really is the best TA you'll ever see in your life, so you don't want to miss out on that, you know. And anyway, what we ended up getting was exactly the same formation, where we had a massive dip that was bought back up nearly instantly, allowing us to test the low. But the important part about this with regards to the health of the trend, which I tried to make as a point before I got sidetracked a few times because I'm hyper as fuck right now, is that this dip ended up finding support at previous resistance with really squiggly lines. This is really bad. I'm just going to draw a horizontal line now right at the bottom of this wick, and we can see that this wick went down to previous resistance, and so we've got a beautiful resistance to support flip. It's just showing us a healthy formation in the trend. It's absolutely what we want to see. It's the best case scenario. I love it. This is perfect. And what this is showing us is that we could still be ready to rise to the upside. Now, one of the funny things I've noticed is that we do have a very clear bearish divergence here on the RSI. We can take a look at it on the 4-hour. It's a lot more obvious. And basically, since this little bull flag that we've had, we have been setting higher highs within the trend. I mean, the trend has undeniably been higher, whereas at the same time, the RSI has been getting lower. In this case, the RSI was equal, which isn't necessarily a bearish divergence, but it's absolutely not a bullish sign. And then, yeah, now that we have set a higher high within this trend, our RSI has set a lower high, which is bearish. But it's funny. The reason I said it's funny is that it doesn't matter. Bitcoin always does this, and it's there's always going to be that one pleb on Twitter or Telegram saying, "Hey, look, we have a bearish divergence in the RSI," as if it matters. And yeah, if I haven't made it clear enough by now, it doesn't matter, because they come up all the bloody time. And if something like this is coming up all the time, it's probably not going to be game changing. It's probably not going to mean that the trend is going to change because of it. And that is why I like to focus on these particular things when I'm doing my analysis, when I'm sharing my trades and various different things like that. This is one of the messages I got from a VIP member a little bit ago. I think it was like a week or so ago, showing me how his balances have doubled. Mentioning that he's looking forward to an update here, but then closing all positions and having some nice profits. I don't think these are small profits, but if he wants to say these are small profits, almost doubling his Bitcoin. Now, I think at another point in this conversation, he told me that these weren't all from the things I was sharing, so obviously a lot of his own trades, but still really, really cool. From 2.8 BTC up to 0.54 BTC. This was all in the space where he was in VIP, and it was only a matter of weeks, if I remember correctly. So absolutely amazing to see this person doubling his Bitcoin. This was before all of these massive moves, so you can only imagine how much better it got after that. And of course, you guys saw this profit, this pennant I called exactly the same thing I told you guys where I was trading it. 70% profit. It went up to 120% where I started to close it right near the top. Just another one of our little things here where I was showing you just some of our recent trades. I was having dinner with my assistant, and my assistant pulled this little spreadsheet up. 77%, 180%, but then minus 15, minus 13. Obviously, I'm not making a profit in every single trade. It's about as good as you can get after that, but not every single trade. And as I've been telling you guys, you see all of the information with these trades. Right when I enter them, you get the information about it. If I'm considering a position but I haven't entered it yet, I'm giving you a warning, like, hey guys, look, I'm considering this position. This is why I'm considering it, that kind of thing. So you can see exactly how I'm pulling these numbers in the real-time market, not like a trading textbook, which I absolutely recommend you read, by the way. I don't give any financial advice, but I recommend you do your research. And trading textbooks will show you, you could have done this is what could have happened, but all of this stuff happened in 1998 trading the Dow Jones Industrial Index or whatever, and this is not that. This is me teaching you how I'm doing what I'm doing with real market conditions that are happening right now. Big wins and controlled losses, ladies and gentlemen. It's still 50% off, so if you want to get into VIP, hit up the first link in the description down below. This is going to take you straight to my gold channel, my completely free channel. Click on the @4flies at the bottom of any post in 4flies gold, and then click on send message to ask me how to join VIP, to ask me what you get. I'll give you all of that information. Absolutely no problems, and we can get you in with our 50% off sale. It is the biggest discount we have ever run, so you definitely want to be getting in on that. we've covered the bull flag, we've covered how we've had a bit of a healthy formation. Now, one of the other interesting things, though, and we're kind of starting to lean onto the bearish side with this part of the video now, is that we are starting to encounter a little bit of problems. A few problems coming up to this level. The consolidation ranges are coming in a bit sooner, so I guess I can take this off now and probably even remove these lines. And the point is that we had a nice rise up to 11,000. We had a very quick, very easy rise up to 11,000 when we broke out from 9. But now that we are trading at 11,000, you've noticed that we've had a kind of, I mean, it was only a day or so, but we've had a kind of significant sideways trading range, trading around the $11,000 resistance area, and now we're finding more resistance at 11,300, 11,400, and it makes sense that we're finding more resistance. I think an example I could possibly give is comparing this to gravity or something, straight up, where it's like, you enter a planet's orbit, and give me a second here, just getting a phone call, there we go. And you enter a planet's orbit or something like that, and then it pulls you closer, and you can't really get away or something like that. Now, in this case, the resistance wants to reject you, resistance wants to repel you away. But I think it's a good example. Actually, no, it's a bloody terrible example. But anyway, it's where we're getting closer to the resistance, and so naturally we're getting some more turbulence, right? So we've entered an area of air pressure where the air pressure is changing a little bit, so we're getting a bit of turbulence, and it's kind of to be expected. Now, the fact is, we are in a parabolic trend. On the 4-hour chart, it's absolutely a parabolic trend, and parabolic trends don't really stop at resistance. I think $6,000 demonstrated that for us, where I got laughably wrong, and I'm very happy to put my hands up and admit that I was a bloody idiot and a bit too cocky for it, to be quite honest. I mean, it would have been really badass if I was correct, and I was willing to play that risk, but to be honest, I didn't think there was a risk there. But apparently resistance don't matter. Resistance areas don't matter. Is it going to be the same thing for 11,600? We haven't hit it yet, but we are getting rejected the closer we get to it. I still think we have the strength to get there. Like I said, we've had this bullish retest. We've already tested the low, so now the next logical place is to test the high. So that does mean that we could be ready to go there. Put it this way, I'm hesitant to be opening longs right now. I've already taken massive profits on my longs that were open, so I don't really have a thirst to be doing that kind of stuff right now. And so I think I'd be easing off right now. But things do change really quickly, and the most important thing is obviously I'm trading alts as well. VIPs are seeing how I'm trading alts, and when Bitcoin is doing all this crazy, I mean, let's take a look at it. Bitcoin's up by 3%, whereas the rest of the market is down by about 5%, 5 to 7%, anywhere between there. And so when Bitcoin's having its fun, alts are usually next, and that is what I am ready to get onto. And the most important thing about altcoins, by the way, guys, is that you don't really get warning that they're about to pop off. You don't really get warning that shit's about to go crazy with the altcoins, and so you need to be in there and ready to do that. I'm already in Ripple. VIPs know about that. That's a position I'm going to be keeping for a long time, simply because it's one of those coins that I think can really pop off. VIPs know my analysis there, so you can see that. You can still see that if you join now, and you can find that in the channel. All the information's right there waiting for you to be reading over it and learning. But that is the situation that we've got right there with the altcoins. Now I've taken a few more notes, so let me just take a look at everything here. So yeah, the volume was a little bit low on our way up. If we take a look at the initial rise up to $10,000, the volume was absolutely huge on the green side, but now that we've set a higher high, not only do we have that bearish divergence, we also have lower volume. Truth is, both of these things don't matter, so I'm not really too worried about it. Both of these things will have happened over and over throughout this trend since $3,000, and so, like I said in a recent video, it's a case of identifying which pieces of technical analysis work for the market and which don't, and then you know which to discard and you know which to give more weighting to. And in this case, even though the volume is not really giving anything of a bullish sign, we have something which is a lot more reliable, which is a pennant, and so I don't see why you would want to be focusing on something that's proven itself over and over through multiple iterations that it's not useful, and then instead you would be ignoring something that's proven itself to be useful. It just doesn't make sense. So Bitcoin potentially, and you've got people talking about how it could be in an ascending triangle or something like that, drawing lines like this. I mean, you can draw anything, but the bottom line is, the trend has paused. This by the way, this is like rounding up many chapters of TA books and stuff like that. The bottom line is that the trend has gone up, the trend has paused, and then it went up again, and now the trend has paused. It doesn't matter what pattern it is. It doesn't matter if it's going up, down, in circles, or sideways. Quoting The Wolf of Wall Street there. I'm listening to Way of the Wolf right now by Jordan Belfort. A little bit boring to me. It's all about sales calls, like cold calling, so it absolutely doesn't apply to me, but I thought it would be good to learn from Jordan Belfort, given all his prior experiences. And I think he's got a second book, which I'll end up reading later, so I'm more interested in the stock stuff, but he's probably not the person to be learning from, and I'm starting to realize that now as I go through his book. But anyway, a bit off topic there. Love reading. Reading is how I got to where I am. That's why I always recommend people to go through trading books and stuff like that. One of the most important benefits of a trading book, and it's exactly what you get when you watch my videos, it's exactly what you get when you join VIP, but what you get when you read trading books as well is it puts you in the right mindset for trading. When someone's writing a trading book, they are, for example, the one of the books I've got recommended in the description of all of my videos is Market Wizards by Jack Schwager, and this is a book where he's interviewing the top traders in the world, and what will happen almost by osmosis is if you stick yourself near these kinds of people, because you, compared to these top 100 traders or whatever in the world, are a very bad trader. I mean, let's be honest, let's be humble, even I am. In front of these people, we're very bad traders. But because these people are bubbling with so much amazing trading knowledge, we're just able to soak that up, and it puts us in the perfect mindset to be game face. That is why people are joining VIP and within weeks doubling their balances. It's not a coincidence. It's happening over and over and over. People are joining VIP and without me even posting anything, they're immediately booking gains that they have never seen before. It's simply because you are in tune with this mindset, and when you've got the mindset stuff handled, you're ready to blow up. Books give you that. VIP gives you that. I'm gonna be honest with you, the book is like $7, so it's way cheaper than VIP. And so, I mean, I would recommend everyone do it, whether you're in VIP or not. You do this, you get into that mindset, it'll never hurt you. But that is volume covered. That's me going on a few different tangents there. I hope it's not very annoying. Started to slow down near resistance. And then, yeah, I made this little post in Four Flights Gold, and, I told you, take a look at this chart. We've got a monthly chart. I don't want to open up Telegram. That's, okay, so I'm just going to have to zoom in like this. We've got a monthly chart here. And the deal is, we've just gone absolutely off the fucking board. We've gone massively. Now, this is the logarithmic chart, but, we have had the same kind of run-up that we've had in 2017, with less pullbacks and probably with more ferocity up to this particular level. But excitement doesn't feel the same. Excitement just doesn't feel like, I'm going to close this tab, just doesn't feel like it's there. Is excitement the same as back in 2017 when this happened? No, it's not. Is it even half as much as what we had in 2017? Yeah, no, I don't think so either. So just a little bit of food for thought. And while I was typing out that it is some food for thought, I knew that you guys would have some interesting ideas. So I figured, you know what? DM me. I'm curious to gather some thoughts. And this chart was by the Crypto Monk on Twitter. Nice guy. So I want to be kind of replying to some of those things. Now, I didn't get to reply to many of those messages, and I'm sorry, it's not personal, but I get way too many messages, and my assistant actually has to go through these things. So even if you didn't see a read receipt, trust me, I did read them. I've read every single comment. I want to be hitting back to a few of them. One of the first ones I want to reply to is this idea that, we don't have as much excitement because right now it's smart money, not dumb money. That's literally a reply I got, and no shame to this person, but that's absolutely not the case, guys. This is not smart money. Okay, we can just leave it at that. The reason it's not smart money is because smart money gets smart because it has smart owners, and smart owners make smart decisions all the time. Not some of the time. Smart people, rich people, whatever, smart money makes smart decisions all the time, not some of the time. So I got a few other messages saying, this is this is institutional FOMO, and we've never seen anything like it before, or something like that. And no, it's not. The reason it's not is that smart money doesn't FOMO. You don't get smart by FOMOing. You get smart by being smart, and and in the same vein, institutional money does not FOMO, guys. In institutional money, smart money was buying back when I was telling you guys that the worst of the bear market was over, and I was being laughed at for it. We're back at the $3,300 range with this massive green box, and I told you guys, I think the worst of the bear market is over. I think that the worst of the price corrections is over, and I was wrong about the second part where I thought the bear market would continue in terms of a time correction. Yes, hands up, I was wrong, but in terms of price correction, I told you I didn't think we'd be going lower than 3,100, and I even had contacts telling me that smart people were starting to buy in at that level. Guys, this is where the smart FOMO is happening. This is where the institutional buys are happening. It makes perfect sense. We saw it in the bloody headlines. No surprises. This is retail. Now, one interesting thing that Kirby has brought up, Crypto Kirby, you guys know I love him. He's someone I've been trading alongside for since 2017, nearly 2 years now. Kirby brought up the idea of money just re-entering, and he showed you the Google Trends, and this is actually a message I got. Someone brought this up, but I know from talking to Kirby that he's talking about this a little bit, where Google Trends are showing us that we don't have as much interest in Bitcoin as we did back when we initially had the 2017 rise. And so potentially what this is just the same money that drove us up in 2017, driving us up in 2019. And that's a bit concerning because it simply means we don't actually have the FOMO that we think we have. And so probably, or potentially rather, this trend could collapse and not be valid. So again, just a little bit of food for thought. It's one potential explanation, and I out of all the things I've heard, I think that's potentially a good explanation there. Just want to pull up a few more, almost at random. We have a lot of people talking about how it's like the calm before the storm. Potentially, we need to hit the all-time high first. But I think my point here was that by this point in 2017, by the point where we were trading at nearly $12,000, $11,000. That excitement level was much higher than it is right now. And so, yes, if we end up breaking the all-time high, if we end up reaching the all-time high, that excitement will come back probably in a similar way. But I mean, by this point, the last time we were here, we had way more excitement. And it makes sense because, this time we've already experienced these price levels before we hadn't. And so we really didn't know where the limit was. Now we know the sky being the limit is $20,000. And if we go above that, of course, it is open skies at that point. But we've already been through this, and so put it this way, it's like, the first time you ever eat fish and chips, you come to London, you get off the flight, you come straight down to the fish and chip shop because you have your priorities in check. The first time you have fish and chips, it's like a full body orgasm. It's absolutely amazing. The second time, just a mind or tongue or something like that, that's the only place you're feeling that intense dopamine, and then it kind of dies down, but it never dies down much more after that, so it's like the first time is really bloody intense, hitting $11,000, hitting $12,000, going to the moon, what color is my Lambo, that kind of stuff. This time around, we've already been there, we kind of know what it's like, we kind of know what to expect, and so, we're already telling people before we even get into the shop, we know we're going to ask them for that vinegar on the fish and chips, slap a bit of tartar sauce on the side because we know what's up, we don't use mayonnaise, or God forbid ketchup. Oh God, I've been traveling a lot and I haven't had fish and chips. All right, that's my confession. That's why I'm talking about fish and chips. I sometimes wonder if I should be more professional than this, but to be honest with you, I quite like this. I quite like this raw Sammy. Anyway, me talking about fish and chips means I've exhausted everything I needed to say for this video. So I really hope you have enjoyed it. I hope it's kind of cleared up what's been going on in this trend for you a little bit. I do think we could be going a little bit higher, but I do think we potentially are showing some signs of slowing down. It'd make perfect sense if we get rejected at 11,600. We have a nice little dip right now. It's been a massive uptrend on the daily chart. The weekly also looks extremely crazy with only one pullback since the $5,000 range. If we get a pullback now, put it this way, it wouldn't be surprising. I'm not in a position right now, but I am ready to pounce on the market, and my VIPs will know exactly what's going on when that happens. I remember here pulling a double on this portfolio within just a couple of weeks, if I recall correctly. You've already seen me pull the profits in gold right there in real time. Big wins and controlled losses. You can join for 50% off. The way to join is by clicking on the first link in the description down below, clicking on the @4flies at the bottom of any post in 4flies gold. Send me a message, ask